14, October is National Bullying Prevention Month. The parentologist, Dr. Kim, is back with advice on this very important topic. Dr. Kim, thank you for being here. A topic very near and dear to my heart. I've shared many times on the morning show that I was bullied for many, many years growing up in elementary through middle school, through high school. And it's one of those things that stays with you for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. It's hard. And I treat parents sometimes when I meet with their children and then families, and there are still parents to this day that are still traumatized from bullying that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, and it's still affecting them to this day.
When we talk about bullying with our kids, especially in a month, it is to bring awareness to it, because I don't like to say, hey, just ignore it, right, and pretend it's not there. It's there, and it's an issue.
Yes.
How common is it today?
I think the last statistics I looked at was either 1 in 4 children or even 1 in 3 children now will get bullied sometime in their lifetime. So that's a lot of children. So if there's a 30-kid classroom, that's at least a third of the classroom or a quarter of the classroom is getting bullied at some point.
Where is the bullying coming from? Is it a learned behavior? Is it a genetic thing? Is it just a normal phase that kids go through in adolescence as they're growing up?
I think some children like to experiment with their behaviors and seeing what they can do before they get caught with something. You know, I think there's a little bit of boundary pushing to a certain extent, but I do think kindness starts at home, and I think bullying starts at home. So in some cases, when children are bullied by their parents, if there's lots of punishment, yelling, shaming, things like that that are happening at home, sometimes that's what kids know, and so they'll go out to the school and then they'll start doing the same thing to their peers. Or they might be more susceptible to being a victim to bullying because they're used to being bullied by their parents, if you will. And so if they get bullied at school, that's kind of the norm for them too, and they actually might be the one that might be the victim in that case.
Interesting.
And perpetuating that type of bullying behavior.
So if you are a parent that you suspect, I mean, I've had conversations with parents that they don't want to accept that their child is the bully.
Yes.
But if you feel like maybe your child has a tendency to do that, how do you handle that?
It's really hard.
That's hard.
Like you said, because a lot of parents that I have met in my experience that if their child is accused of being bullied, they either in denial or they get defensive. Yes.
Okay.
That's not my child. My child would never do that, and it's just till they're blue in the face. And the evidence could be right there in front of them, but they still will not admit that. And or if it finally is admitted to a certain extent, there's still no limits, consequences, or boundaries that are happening at home. They might even just blow it off and say, oh, well, you got caught this time, just don't get caught again. You know, so there's lots of different responses that parents will give these days if their child is, quote unquote, the bully. And some parents will take it seriously, but I think more parents don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to admit your child's at fault for anything, especially with hurting another child.
How do you teach a child? It's very interesting because kids, you mentioned, they're mimicking what they see at home.
Yes.
Right? So how do you teach a child then to just be kind and not to bully?
I think it starts early and it starts frequently. So the earlier you start having conversations about kindness and having those conversations often, I think will help a child as they grow not like go into those types of behaviors. I think it starts with empathy more so. Teaching child empathy, teaching children to put themselves in someone else's shoes, you know, making sure they know how that might feel to someone else. You know, if someone called you a name, if someone hurt you or started gossip about you or threatened to hurt you, what would that feel like?
Adult bullying can be an issue as well. I'm very familiar with that.
Oh yeah,
very familiar
the
with
mean
that.
mom culture is prevalent these days. Yes.
And they just carry it through life and they just bring it in as adults.
Yes, I thought it was going to go away. Like you said, like, you know, going through elementary school, I started getting bullied in 4th grade and, you know, intermittently through middle school and even high school. And I thought, oh, finally I'm an adult, it's going to go away. And then I became a mom, and the criticisms, the competition, the I'm better than you, or your child's not invited to our birthday party because they're not good enough. It's pretty prevalent of moms being mean to moms. And I do think that gets passed down to our children as well. But it's out there.
If you have a child that you may suspect that they are getting bullied, how do you handle that?
First and foremost, I would be a good listener. I think that's the biggest thing we need to give to our kids right now is listening to them, having an open door, open lines of communication, being a listener, getting all the facts, and then acting on it. Because I think most of the bullying the victim are pretty low statistically, but the bystander, the one that sees it and does nothing about it, it's that old saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So I think that if someone else sees something and it's not acted on, it's going to perpetuate and it's going to keep going. So I think parents, should go to a teacher, should go to a principal, and if you get it earlier, it is more likely to stop and alleviate some of the symptoms that could come with it if it perpetuates.
It's all really good advice, and I hope that one day we don't have to talk about this as much anymore. I always tell my kids as they send them off to school on the first day, I said, find somebody that's standing there all by themselves and go ask them to play.
Yes.
And I think you're absolutely right. The sooner we teach them that kindness and that empathy, then there's no need to bully.
Yes.
Dr. Kim, thank you for being here.
Thank you.